Hey, what's up guys? Jojo Lean, aka Ogle County Raptor, formerly Ogle County Alligator, and today I've got yet another unboxing video slash vlog for you today. So I already kind of hinted at what it was in the last video. I straight up said what it was gonna be in the last vlog. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this VHS tape with a scary face on it opened up. Died. Had to go get another one. Okay. Let's open her up. Can't show one side of the case because, oops, I think I opened it upside down. Yeah, this is upside down because the tape's like coming out this way. Sorry, I had to pause for a minute. The things that I did shall remain a mystery. Alrighty. Let's get her out of the... Yep. Gee, I guess whoever boxed this guy up shared the same sentiment we all do. You'll see in a minute. Yeah, he boxed it up like this. That was definitely not intentional. Alright. And here we have it. Maniacts in bubble wrap. Alright. Let me get it out of this bubble wrap, and I'll explain this to you for anybody who is unfamiliar with what this whole shtick is. Okay. Here's this very inviting cover. And if you didn't know, this is the infamous screamer image as seen on What's Wrong with This Picture. It is also seen on America's Funniest Home Videos quite a bit. Through What's Wrong with This Picture and The Scary Maze, etc. Hollywood Video. Just imagine renting that from Hollywood Video. Red Room Entertainment. I wouldn't know if there's any print dates on this. But seeing as I have this VHS with a screamer image on it, one that was a big part of my childhood trauma for the past damn near 20 years, I figured that I would sit down and tell you some stories about some of my experiences with internet screamers. And I got a couple of them. Some of them aren't about me. They're about my brother and my sister, very briefly, and everything else is entirely me. Alright. So, where should I begin? Okay, so I guess I'll start with America's Funniest Home Videos, because that's where it all began for me. So, I used to watch AFE, America's Funniest Home Videos. I used to watch that all the time when I was younger, when Tom Bergeron was the host, and a little bit into when Alfonso took his place. Yeah, Tom Bergeron was the host of AFE up until I was about 12, I think, and it was a very sad goodbye when he left. But Alfonso is a good host as well. I never saw anything Bob Saget or forget who those two were that nobody liked, but I never saw anything before Tom Bergeron. That wasn't really my prime. I might have once, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, so internet screamers and internet screamer reactions, those were a big focus on AFE back in the day, back in 2005, 2000. They were a crucial part of the show up until about 2015 when Alfonso Ribeiro became the host, when there was only one screamer that I can remember, and it was a clip that was already featured on the show when Tom was the host. But the big one? You want to know what the big one was? Okay. So, there was this episode of the show. So, mind you, I used to watch the new episodes when they'd come on most Sundays on ABC, and then sometimes I'd watch the reruns of the show, older Bergeron episodes on WGN. And I don't know what it was when I first watched the episode. I don't know if it was new or a rerun. Probably a rerun. I don't know. But anyway, so everything's all fine and dandy on this episode of AFE. You know, people falling down, kids doing whatever, God knows what. You know, perfectly normal affair, but then halfway into the episode, at some point into the episode, it cuts to this segment where Tom Bergeron pulls up his email. And what is it? Well, in Tom's email is this picture of this dining room. Now, we all know what it is. If you clicked on this, you already know what it is. But at the time, as little kid me, I don't know what this is. And so it's this picture of this dining room, and Tom, you know, being Tom, he's talking over it, being funny, you know. At this point, at the time, I remember thinking, yeah, I know something's not right here. I know something's gonna pop up and scare me, isn't it? And sure enough, this face appears with no eyes. The image we all know and love, and we're traumatized by, pops up on the screen. Now, the Screamer Wiki says that the scream was a Homer Simpson scream, but I don't remember. I haven't seen the clip that was featured on AFE. I've just seen the original Flash animation since. But the screamer pops up, and then Tom says, "Oh, that must be what these people saw." Or something like that. And then it cuts to a compilation of people getting scared by what's wrong with this picture. And, well, at the time I probably just thought, oh, that's a very ugly face and nothing more. But as I continued watching AFV more and more as the years go on, I would see this face on the show, like, all the time, because there were numerous screamer reaction compilations on the show, usually just whenever they felt like it. Didn't have to be specifically a segment dedicated to screamers. They'd just throw one on the show at any random given time, in any compilation of videos. And I would see this face all the fucking time. Not this face on the Maniacts tape, but the one. And the screamers that were featured on the show were like the Scary Maze game, K-Fee commercial. I remember one. I think the K-Fee commercial might have been edited as well with different music, but that could be just my memory being foggy. I don't know. But this little girl, she put the K-Fee commercial on for her sister to watch. And for the duration of however long it lasts till Brad Johnson, the zombie, pops up, she's just sitting there like this, and then obviously she gets jump scared and falls out of her chair and then yells at her little sister. Yeah, but yeah, it had the K-Fee commercial, Forest.wmv. If I haven't seen that one, people have just told me it was on the show. And then Look Into the Spiral, which was... And that was on the show twice, if I remember correctly. And of course, the Scary Maze game. But what was interesting was, so we all know that, you know, Don't Touch the Walls, or Reagan McNeil from The Exorcist pops up with a loud scream. Well, in AFV, they had an alternate version of the game which featured this face. I don't know how that came about. I don't know why they did that, as if Reagan wasn't bad enough, but I would later come to find out that there were multiple versions of the Scary Maze game, not just one. But yeah, so I got to see that face all throughout my childhood. And after a while, it just became very unnerving to look at, to the point, if I knew something was coming up with that face, I had to change the channel, or look and just close my eyes, or yeah, just get that thing out of my face, please. And I would have countless nightmares about watching AFV when there was a screamer compilation going on, or screamers that are not real and only existed in here, in my mind, or straight up just any random occurrence. I could be doing whatever the hell I wanted, and like playing a video game, watching a VHS, etc. And some way or another, that face is popping up and scaring the hell out of me. And that wasn't just when I was little. That stuck with me up until about now. Yeah. Well, I decided I was sick of that bullshit and that I'm an adult. And in all honesty, so I did some research on this image, and I found the original image, and I thought, wow, This image really isn't as off-putting as the one that J. Bill McCarthy made without the eyeballs. The one that, because he photoshopped it and used that for What's Wrong. But yeah, I think I've overcome my childhood trauma with What's Wrong with this picture. But as I mentioned earlier, I can't remember if I already mentioned it, but Screamers were on AFV up until about the end of Tom Bergeron's run. And there was one Screamer that was featured throughout the entire time Alfonso's been the host. And as far as I know, he is still hosting AFV. And I love him too. He's funny. But yeah, Screamers for me began with America's Funniest Home Videos. And my whole thing with this image began with America's Funniest Home Videos. Thank you. Thanks, Tom Bergeron. I'm just kidding. I know, not his fault. The next two I got here are not stories about me. These are very brief. My sister and brother would be able to tell them in better detail. Well, the one with my brother anyway. But I remember back in the day when my sister discovered the video Swearing Baby. And what that is this video of this baby sleeping for a couple of seconds, and then it becomes demonic and it screams at you. Well, my sister discovered that video and had the shit scared out of her. And yeah, that's all I really remember about that. But and then there was and then the one that involves my brother and my sister, that was the ghost in the London dungeon. Now, what he told me was that, how he always told me the story was, so we were looking up ghost videos, which we shouldn't have been doing, and we found this one called the London Dungeon. He didn't call it the ghost in the London Dungeon. He just referred to it as London Dungeon. But, so, from what I understand, that video is security cam footage or something. And at a certain point, this scary lady with black teeth pops up and screams at you. And, well, they fell victim to that one. And they stopped looking up ghost videos after that. So, yeah. Okay, back to me. And this happened to me when I was about 11 or 12 years old. I'm going to assume that it was probably 2014. But, so I was just browsing YouTube, looking up gaming videos, and getting my fix for the day. It was plushie videos back in the day, like Super Dent Brothers, Super Mario Logan, etc. But so I stumbled across this one video called All 20 GameCube Startup Sounds, and the guy who made it had the username of SNJ1234. I remember his name very well for some reason. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but anyway. So, this video... Okay, so the first 3 startups that it showcases are real. You can trigger them on the GameCube if you input the commands in properly. Well, everything after that, fake. It's all movie maker effects, like the GameCube being the GameCube startup in black and white, GameCube startup in reverse, etc. Things of that matter. I don't quite remember what all of those were, just vague details. The only one I remember very well was number 20. So I have the GameCube right here, and I'll show you the command that it's telling you to do, that this video tells the viewer to do in order to pull this off. So the video states that you need to swap memory card slot B. You gotta swap out memory cards B to A, and then put memory card B back in slot B. So yeah, I did that too slowly to trigger the command, but it says to do that. So at this point, I'm like, probably like laying back a little bit like this. Or worst case scenario, I was like this close to the screen because I would sit pretty close to the computer at times when I was younger. And well, what do you know? As soon as that GameCube startup ends, or just before it ends, the zombie from the Kaffe advert pops up and screams. And I screamed, and I flew out of that chair backwards onto the floor. And I was pretty pissed afterwards. I remember that much. I never trusted any GameCube videos on YouTube ever again, specifically anything related to the startup, or any console startup sounds, any console startup videos in general. Never trusted them again. But the video was actually removed from YouTube and re-uploaded by someone else. And oh yeah, I'll have to look at this one again so I can figure out how I can figure out how to trigger these startups. And I'll see if I get jump scared. So the next one is not a classic screamer. This actually happened relatively not too long ago, 2021. So this was during the anti-piracy screen phase. If you remember, I made a couple of those. I made a bunch of Mortal Kombat ones, and I made a Resident Evil one. And I was intending to do more of the Resident Evil stuff, but the trend was already dead by that point, and I saw no point. And also my Kindle Fire crapped out, and it always ran out of space on me. So this is when the trend first started. So I was watching a couple of these in a playlist or compilation or something. I can't quite remember. But anyway, so we get to Super Mario Odyssey anti-piracy screen. Got some frosting, sorry. So we get to Super Mario Odyssey anti-piracy screen. So this video shows what happens if you play an illegal copy of Super Mario Odyssey on the Nintendo Switch. So what happens is a black screen comes up with text saying, "You are a thief," and there's a scary image of Mario in the background, and also at the same time a different image of Mario's face, just sort of slowly coming towards the screen like that, and the most disturbing, droning music is playing as his face slowly crawls towards the screen. You know, and I just thought, wow, this is the most disturbing music I've ever heard in my life, and that is a cursed image of Mario, even though it's been around for quite a while at that point. I mean, well, okay. let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Alright, so eventually the screen just goes black. And at this point, everything was relatively tame that I watched. And I just sort of expected more or less the same thing out of every one of them. Big mistake. So, a couple seconds later, a picture of a demonic Princess Peach pops up on the screen with a loud, deep scream. And it's sort of like flashing, if I remember correctly. And it says, turn off the console. Mocha. I had a plate full of father and son's pizza in my hand. So that popped up, scared the shit out of me, and I threw my pizza in the air. And it was like something you'd see in a cartoon. But luckily for me, I caught my pizza just in time. And there's that one. Now this last one. So this one is about me pranking someone with a screamer. And this was last year, 2023. And so, when I was dating my third ex, I spent a lot of time in the west side of Rockford. Terrible place, do not go there. There are a bunch of degenerates that live there. But anyway, one day we were hanging out with their mother. And what I'm referring to here is the hood. A predominantly black people. But anyway, so I thought, you know what, I think I'm going to get somebody with the K-Fee commercial today, the car one. So, unfortunately for my ex's mother, who is the ghettoest you can get, she got the misfortune of seeing that. So, I showed it to her, and this was her reaction. So, she's watching, and then Brad pops up as a zombie. Oh, you motherfucker. Oh, Jesus. That concludes this vlog about screamers and our unboxing of Maniacts on VHS. Be watching it soon. Might do a commentary. Who knows? We'll see. But I gotta go to work soon. It is damn near 1 o'clock right now. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.